This video has been brought to you by the Ethical Standards Board of ICAI on FAQs on Advertisement and Solicitation. Let's start with FAQ number 1. Whether it is permissible for a chartered accountant in practice to mention words like quality, knowledge and transparency, integrity, etc. on websites, letterheads or visiting cards? The answer is the mention of catchwords or catchphrases, for example excellence in a particular area, firm having professionals of integrity, etc. on firm's website, letterheads and visiting cards is not permissible in view of the provisions of Clause 6 and 7 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act. It may be noted that the above catchwords are only indicative and not exhaustive. Next is FAQ number 2. Can a member in practice or a firm of chartered accountants print his or its vision and values behind the visiting cards? The answer is no, it is not allowed, since such printing of vision and values behind the visiting cards may result in solicitation and violation of the provisions of Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949. The third FAQ is: can a member in practice mention services such as filing of income tax return, GST return, audit, etc. on professional documents, visiting cards, letterheads or signboards, etc.? The answer is no. As per Clause 7 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, a chartered accountant shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he advertises his professional attainments or services or uses any designation or expression other than chartered accountant on professional documents, visiting cards, letterheads or signboards, unless it's a degree of a university established by law in India or recognized by the central government, or a title indicating membership of the Institute of Chartered Accountants or any other institution that has been recognized by the central government or may be recognized by the council. However, the member in practice may advertise through a write-up setting out the services provided by him or his firm and particulars of his firm subject to such guidelines as may be issued by the council. Moving on to the fourth FAQ. What should be the size of a signboard? The answer is, with regards to the size of a signboard for the office, members should exercise their own discretion and good taste while keeping in mind the appropriate visibility and illumination limited to the sake of visibility. However, use of glow signs or lights on large-size boards, as is used by traders or shopkeepers, is not permissible. A member can have a name board at the place of his residence with the designation of a chartered accountant, provided it is a nameplate or a name board of an individual member and not of the firm. The fifth FAQ is whether display of signboard mentioning services of the firm is permissible to be put inside the premises of the office of the said firm. The answer is yes. It is permissible to mention services provided by the firm in signboard which can be put inside the premises of the firm, since it will not be an advertisement to the world at large, but only depiction of services provided by the firm and accessible only to the clients or persons who are already voluntarily present inside the premises of the firm. FAQ 6 asks, if a member is a partner in more than one firm, is it permissible to print the name of all the firms on visiting cards, letterheads, stationeries, etc.? The answer is yes. There is no violation under Clause 7 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Act. Moving on to the seventh FAQ. Whether a member in practice or a firm of chartered accountants is permitted to use logo on letterheads, stationery, etc.? The answer is no. The use of logo or monogram of any kind, form, style, design or color, etc. whatsoever on any display material or media, example paper, stationery, documents, visiting cards, magnetic devices, internet or signboard by the member in practice and or a firm of chartered accountants is prohibited. The use or printing of member or firm's name in any other manner tantamounting to logo or monogram is also prohibited. However, a common CA logo has been allowed to the members, provided it is used in the correct manner within the terms of the Council guidelines. Next is FAQ number 8. Whether the office of a chartered accountant is permitted to go in for ISO certification or other similar certifications. The answer is yes. There is no bar for a member to go in for an ISO certification or other similar certifications. However, the member cannot use expressions like ISO certified on his professional documents, visiting cards, letterheads, or signboards, etc. Next is FAQ number 9. If a member in practice has cleared any certificate course of ICAI, that is certificate course on Ind AS, certificate course on GST, etc., is he permitted to print such qualifications on visiting cards, letterheads, and other stationery? The answer is no. It is not permissible for a member to mention the name of the certificate course of the ICAI cleared by him. However, wherever diploma is awarded by the ICAI, the same can be mentioned on the visiting cards, letterheads, and other stationery. Example, DISA ICAI. Next is FAQ number 10. Whether the members in practice can print their photographs on their visiting cards? The answer is no. It is not permissible for the members in practice to print their photographs on their visiting cards. Moving on to the 11th FAQ. Which designations can be mentioned by a member in practice empaneled as insolvency professional on his visiting cards, letterheads, and other communication? The answer is a member in practice empaneled as insolvency professional can mention insolvency professional on his visiting cards, letterheads, and other communication, as this is recognized by the central government in terms of Clause 7 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Act. Mention of any other nomenclatures, designations, including membership of any IPA, is not allowed. Moving on to the 12th FAQ. Can a member in practice print QR quick response code on his visiting cards, facilitating easy access to information? The answer is yes. Printing of QR code on the visiting cards is permissible, provided that it does not contain information that is not otherwise permissible to be printed on a visiting card. Next is FAQ 13. Is it permissible to mention the name of a CA firm in the credits of a movie displayed as thanks to name of CA firm? The answer is yes. It is permissible to mention name of the member or firm of chartered accountants for inclusion in television or movie credits. However, it must be taken care of that exhibition of name is not made differently as compared to other entries in the credits. Moving on to the 14th FAQ. Whether a member in practice can advertise their services on social networking websites? The answer is yes. A member in practice may advertise through a write-up on social networking websites setting out his particulars or services subject to the Council Guidelines for Advertisement 2008 appearing in Volume 2 of Code of Ethics. The 15th FAQ asks whether a write-up in an advertisement may contain any information about an achievement or award given to a member. The answer is yes. A write-up may contain information about an achievement or award given to a member, provided it has been awarded by the central government or state governments or regulatory bodies. Next is FAQ 16. Whether a member not in practice can use any other description? The answer is a member not in practice may use, as per the provisions of Section 7 of the Act, the designation of Chartered Accountant. However, if he chooses to use the designation of Chartered Accountant, he shall not use any other description, whether in addition or in substitution thereof. However, such a member is not prohibited from adding any other description or letters to his name if entitled thereto, to indicate membership of such other institute of accountancy, whether in India or elsewhere, as may be recognized in this behalf by the Council, or any other qualification that he may possess. Moving on to FAQ 17. Whether a messaging application can be used by a member in practice to send messages to make people aware about their new practice and mention the services provided therein? The answer is no. It is not permissible to use a messaging application to send messages to make people aware about their new practice and mention the services provided therein. FAQ 18 asks whether a member in practice or a firm may give link of its website on a social networking site. The answer is yes. A member in practice or a firm may provide link of its web page on social networking site. However, the member should not solicit people to visit or request to like their respective pages on such social networking site. Moving on to the 19th FAQ. whether members in practice can list themselves with online application-based service provider aggregators. The answer is no. Council Guidelines for Advertisement 2008, appearing in Volume 2 of Code of Ethics, provides members in practice to list themselves with online application-based service provider aggregators, wherein other categories like businessmen, technicians, maintenance workers, event organizers, etc. are also listed. Next is FAQ 20. Can a practicing chartered accountant send emails or messages or any advertisement to solicit clients or professional work? The answer is no. Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 prohibits a practicing chartered accountant from soliciting client or professional work either directly or indirectly by circular, advertisement, personal communication, or by any other means. However, there are exceptions to it. A member can respond to tender or inquiries issued by various users of professional services or organizations from time to time and securing professional work as a consequence. In this regard, attention is invited to the Council Guidelines dated 7th April 2016, which are appearing at Appendix J of Volume 2 of Code of Ethics. A member may advertise changes in partnership or dissolution of firm or of any change in the address of the practice and telephone numbers, the advertisement being limited to a bare statement of fact and consideration given to the appropriateness of the area of the distribution of newspaper or magazine and number of insertions. A member is permitted to issue a classified advertisement in the journal or newspaper of the institute intended to give information for sharing professional work on assignment basis or for seeking professional work on partnership basis or salaried employment in the field of accounting profession, provided it only contains the accountant's name, address, telephone, fax number, email address, and addresses of social networking sites of the members. However, mere factual position of experience and area of specialization relevant to seek response to advertisement are permissible. FAQ 21 asks whether member in practice is permitted to respond to announcement for empanelment for allotment of audit and other professional work and quote fees on inquiries being received. The answer is, it has been clarified by the Council under Proviso 2nd to Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 that if announcements are made for empanelment by government, corporations, courts, cooperative societies, banks, or other similar institutions, the members may respond to such announcements provided the existence of panel is within their knowledge. The Council has further clarified that the quotation of fees can be sent. If inquiries are received by the members in this regard, attention is also invited to Council Guidelines dated 7th April 2016, which are appearing at Appendix J of Volume 2 of Code of Ethics. Moving on to FAQ 22. Whether a member in practice is permitted to have his name published in the telephone directory? The answer is yes. A member in practice is permitted to have his name published in the telephone directory in printed and electronic form, subject to certain conditions. Paragraph 3.5 of Council Guidelines for Advertisement 2008, appearing in the Volume 2 of Code of Ethics, provides for publication of name or firm name by chartered accountants in the telephone or other directories. The chartered accountants and chartered accountants firm may have entries made in the telephone directory in printed and electronic form, either by making special request or by means of additional payment. The Council also considers the question of permitting the entries in respect of chartered accountants and their firms under specified groups in telephone or trade directories, subject to the following restrictions. The entry should not appear in any other section or category except that of chartered accountants. The member or firm should belong to the town or city in respect of which the directory is being published. The order of the entries should not be in any other manner other than alphabetical. The entries should not be made in a different or prominent manner, giving the impression of publicity or advertisement. The entries should not be restricted and should be open to all chartered accountants or firms of chartered accountants in particular city or town in respect whereof the directory is published. The members can also include their names in trade or social directories. The 23rd FAQ asks whether a member in practice can respond to tenders, advertisements, and circulars. The answer is yes. It is permitted as per Proviso 2nd to Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Act. Please refer to paragraph 2.14.1.6.4c under Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Act appearing in the Volume 2 of Code of Ethics. This should be read with the Council guidelines dated 7th April 2016, which are appearing at Appendix J of Volume 2 of the Code of Ethics. FAQ 24 asks, what are the recourse available for members in practice in case of exorbitant EMD or deposit sought in tender by clients? The answer is, the Council is of the view that while interference with the practices prevailing for requirement of EMD or deposit is not required, however, on having received complaint or instance of exorbitant EMD or deposit, the Ethical Standards Board may look into the matter on the case-to-case basis. A cost sheet be maintained by the members of the institute responding to tenders, incorporating details of the cost being incurred therein, having regard to the number of persons involved, hours to be spent, etc., so that the same may be called for by the institute for perusal. The 25th FAQ is, can CA in practice put their firm name, address, and contact details on greeting cards or invitation through WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, etc.? The answer is yes. The designation Chartered Accountant as well as the name of the firm may be used in greeting cards, invitation for marriages and religious ceremonies, and any invitations for opening or inauguration of office of the members, change in the office premises, and change in the telephone numbers, provided that such greeting cards or invitations, etc., are sent only to clients, relatives, and friends of the members concerned. Moving on to the 26th FAQ. Can a chartered accountant in practice solicit professional work by making roving inquiries? The answer is no. It is not permissible for a member to address letters, emails, or circulars to persons who are likely to require services of a chartered accountant. It would tantamount to advertisement under Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, appearing in the Volume 2 of Code of Ethics. FAQ 27 asks, can a chartered accountant in practice send emails to other members in practice to seek professional work? The answer is yes. In terms of Proviso I of Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, a member is permitted to apply or request for or to invite or to secure professional work from another chartered accountant in practice. The issue of advertisement or a circular by chartered accountant seeking work from professional colleagues on any basis whatsoever is in violation of Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949. However, classified advertisement in journal or newsletter of the institute is permissible in this regard. A member is permitted to issue a classified advertisement in the journal or newsletter of the institute intended to give information for sharing professional work on assignment basis or for seeking professional work on partnership basis or salaried employment in the field of accounting profession, provided it only contains the accountant's name, address, telephone, fax number, and email address and the addresses of social networking sites of the members. However, mere factual possession of experience and the area of specialization relevant to seek response to the advertisement are permissible. FAQ 28 asks whether sponsorship or prizes can be instituted in the name of chartered accountants or a firm of chartered accountants. The answer is yes. An individual chartered accountant or a firm of chartered accountants can institute or sponsor prizes, provided that the designation chartered accountant is not appended to the prize and the provision of Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 regarding advertisement and publicity is complied with. FAQ 29 asks, can a chartered accountant's firm give advertisement in relation to silver, diamond, platinum, or centenary celebration of the firm? The answer is yes. As per paragraph 2.14.1.64f under Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, appearing in Volume 2 of Code of Ethics, considering the need of interpersonal socialization or relationship of the members through such get-together occasions, the advertisement for silver, diamond, platinum, and centenary celebrations of the firm has been permitted to be published in any newspaper or in the newsletters. Moving on to FAQ 30. A chartered accountant's firm issued circulars to the non-clients that a chartered accountant who was a former partner in charge of taxation of one of the largest accounting firms of the world had joined them as a partner. Can they do it? The answer is no. Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 prohibits solicitation of client or performing work either directly or indirectly by circular, advertisement, personal communication, or interview, or by any other means. The issuance of circulars to persons who are not clients but may likely require services of a chartered accountant would tantamount to advertisement, since it is solicitation of professional work by making roving inquiries. As per Clause 7 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, the usage of words "one of the largest accounting firms of the world" and the specification of specialization in taxation would also tantamount to advertisement and thus constitute professional misconduct. The 31st FAQ asks, can a chartered accountant in practice accept original professional work emanating from the client introduced to him by another member? The answer is no. As per Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, as appearing in Volume 2 of Code of Ethics, a member should not accept the original professional work emanating from a client introduced to him by another member. If any professional work of such client comes to him directly, it should be his duty to ask the client that he should come through the other member dealing generally with his original work. Next is FAQ 32. Whether a chartered accountant in practice can give public interviews, and also whether he can furnish details about himself or his firm in such interviews. The answer is, as per Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, appearing in Volume 2 of Code of Ethics, a chartered accountant in practice can give public interviews. While doing so, due care should be taken to ensure that such interviews or details about the members or their firms are not given in a manner highlighting their professional attainments. Any detail which is given, in addition to meeting above requirements, be given only as a response to specific question or of factual nature only. FAQ 33 is whether a member can appear on television, films, internet, and broadcast in the radio or give lectures at forums. The answer is yes. A member may appear on television, films, and internet and agree to broadcast in the radio or give lectures at forums and may give his name and describe himself as chartered accountant. Special qualifications or specialized knowledge directly relevant to the subject matter of the program may also be given. Firm name may also be mentioned. However, any exaggerated claim or any kind of comparison is not permissible. What he may say or write must not be promotional of him or his firm, but must be an objective professional view of the topic under consideration. FAQ 34 says, a chartered accountant in practice during a TV interview handed over a biodata of his firm to the chairperson. Such biodata detailed the standing of the international firm with which the firm was associated. It also detailed the achievements of the concerned partner and his recognition as an expert in the field of taxation in the country. The chairperson read out the said biodata during the interview. Is it a professional misconduct? The answer is yes. Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 prohibits solicitation of clients or professional work either directly or indirectly by circular, advertisement, personal communication, or interview, or by any other means, since it shall constitute professional misconduct. The member would be held guilty of misconduct under Clause 6 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Act under the given circumstances. Moving on to the 35th FAQ. Can a chartered accountant in practice or a firm of chartered accountants post the particulars of himself or itself on a website? The answer is yes. The Council has approved the detailed guidelines for posting the particulars on the website by a chartered accountant in practice and firms of chartered accountant in practice. The 36th FAQ asks whether website of any chartered accountant can provide link to a website of ICAI, its regional council and branches, and also to the websites of government or government departments, regulatory authorities, and other professional bodies. The answer is yes. It is permitted that any website may provide link to the website of ICAI, its regional councils and branches, and also to the websites of government or government departments or regulatory authorities and other professional bodies. Next is FAQ 37, whether the information contained in the website of the chartered accountants and/or chartered accountants firm can be circulated on their own or through email or by any other mode or technique. The answer is, as per the Council Guidelines for Advertisement 2008, the Chartered Accountants and/or Chartered Accountants firm should ensure that none of the information contained in the website be circulated either on their own or through email or by any other mode or technique except on a specific pull request. The Chartered Accountants and/or Chartered Accountants firm would ensure that their websites are run on a pull model and not on a push model of the technology to ensure that any person who wishes to locate the Chartered Accountants or the Chartered Accountants firm would only have access to the information, and the information should be provided only on the basis of specific pull request. FAQ 38 asks, can a member put up his photograph on the website? The answer is yes. Display of passport size photograph is permitted. Moving on to FAQ 39, whether the names of clients or fees charged be mentioned on the website of a chartered accountant or chartered accountant's firm. The answer is no. Names of client and fees charged cannot be given. However, disclosure of names of clients and/or fees charged may be made on the website where it is required by a regulator, whether or not constituted under a statute in India or outside India, provided that such disclosure is only to the extent of the requirement of the regulator and is made only till such period that the member works under the purview of such regulator or such requirements of the regulators are in force. The fact that the disclosure is being made due to the requirement of the regulator has to be made below the disclosure itself. Moving on to FAQ 40. Whether a firm of chartered accountants can provide facility to the client to access its documents through logging in on the firm's website? The answer is yes. Code of Ethics permit chat rooms among the members of ICAI and between firms and its clients, provided the confidentiality protocol is observed. Accordingly, it is permissible for the firm of chartered accountants to provide document management facility to the client to get access copies of the documents on the firm's website via distinct login and password. FAQ 41 asks whether a chartered accountant in practice can use expression like income tax consultant, cost accountant, company secretary, cost consultant, or a management consultant. The answer is no. Council directions under paragraph 2.14.1.72 of clause 7 of part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, appearing in volume 2 of the Code of Ethics, prescribes that it is improper for a chartered accountant to state on his professional documents that he is an income tax consultant, cost accountant, company secretary, cost consultant, or a management consultant. Moving on to FAQ 42. What should be the sequence or order of designations while a member also uses the designation doctor along with CA? The answer is, the member is free to use the designation doctor along with CA in whichever sequence or order he wants to. Let's now have a look at FAQ 43. Can a chartered accountant in practice give the date of setting up the practice or the date of establishment on the letterheads and other professional documents, etc.? The answer is no. Council directions under paragraph 2.14.1.74 of clause 7 of part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, appearing in volume 2 of Code of Ethics, prescribes that the date of setting up of the firm on the letterheads and the professional documents, etc. should not be mentioned. However, in the website, the year of establishment can be mentioned. Next is FAQ 44. Can a chartered accountant in practice also practice as an advocate? The answer is yes. Council direction under paragraph 2.14.1.75 under clause 7 of part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, appearing in the volume 2 of Code of Ethics, prescribes that a chartered accountant in practice who is otherwise eligible may practice as an advocate subject to the permission from the Bar Council, but in such cases, he should not use the designation chartered accountant in respect of the matters involving the practice as an advocate. In respect of other matters, he should use the designation chartered accountant, but he should not use the designation chartered accountant and advocate simultaneously. FAQ 45 asks whether a chartered accountant in practice can use the designation corporate lawyer. The answer is no. A chartered accountant in practice is not permitted to use the designation corporate lawyer. Moving on to FAQ 46. Can a chartered accountant in practice or a firm give advertisement in press? The answer is no. However, the members in practice may advertise the services, setting out the services provided by him or his firm and the particulars of his firm through a write-up subject to advertisement guidelines issued by the council. Moving on to FAQ 47, whether members of the institute can use the common CA logo. The answer is yes. The common CA logo can be used by all members, whether in practice or not. Encapsulating the current beliefs, attitudes, and values of the profession, the CA logo seeks to enhance the identity of the members. The logo consists of letters CA with a tick mark upside down inside a rounded rectangle with white background. FAQ 48 asks whether a member may put CA logo on his website on the same background color as that of the website. The answer is, as per the logo guidelines issued by ICAI, in the CA logo, the background color of the logo has to be white. It has to be complied with accordingly, irrespective of the background color of the website. The 49th FAQ asks, can a chartered accountant in practice use or fix a monogram of the institute on any column or wall located inside the office or on professional documents? The answer is no. In view of the Council directions under Clause 7 of Part 1 of the first schedule to the Chartered Accountants Act 1949, a chartered accountant in practice is not permitted to use or fix monogram of the institute on any column or wall located inside the office or on any professional documents. FAQ 50 is whether public notice published in the newspaper by a chartered accountant individually or jointly with an advocate in respect of acquisition of land by their client is permitted. The answer is yes. The public notice published in the newspaper in respect of acquirement of land by their client is permissible. FAQ 51 asks whether it is permissible for a member in practice to publish an advertisement in the press for recruiting staff in the member's own office. The answer is yes. In terms of the provisions of paragraph 3.8.1 of Council Guidelines for Advertisement 2008, appearing in Volume 2 of the Code of Ethics, it is permissible for a member in practice to publish an advertisement in the press for recruiting staff in the member's own office, provided that only the name and address of the member or that of his firm with the description Chartered Accountants is mentioned in such advertisement, and such advertisement is not displayed more prominently than is usual for such advertisement, or the name of the member or that of the firm with the designation Chartered Accountants appears in a type not bolder than the substance of the advertisement. Next is FAQ 52. Whether members in practice or firm of chartered accountants can upload videos on internet. The answer is, members in practice may upload videos of educational nature on the internet. No reference should be made to the chartered accountant's firm wherein the member is a partner or a proprietor. Further, it should not contain any contact details or website address. FAQ 53 speaks about whether member in practice or a firm of chartered accountants can have the YouTube channel. The answer is, members can own a YouTube channel. However, CA firms are not allowed to open its channel. Next is FAQ 54. Whether member in practice mention position held as director in a management consultancy company registered with the institute in the write-up. The answer is yes. A member in practice can mention his position held as director or managing director in a management consultancy company registered with the institute in the write-up. Finally, moving on to FAQ 55. Whether a chartered accountant's firm can mention their affiliation with a network registered with the institute in write-up. The answer is, the write-up of a firm of chartered accountants may include their affiliation with a network registered with the institute in the write-up. With this, we come to an end to our presentation. Thank you.